Welcome back to the Ballad of Butler County, a business podcast highlighting the movers and shakers that make Butler County, well, Butler County, the fastest and only growing county in Western Pennsylvania and the fastest growing county in the entire Commonwealth over the last 3 decades. We are very proud here in Butler County to be the very best place to live, work, play, and grow your business. It's not every day that we have in the studio someone that in their 20s decided to leave a Big Four accounting firm, which offered stability, chance for advancement, among many other things. And then to have them sitting here in this podcast studio today tells you what a move that was for this individual. Before we get to him, I have one question today for you.
All right.
If you could be one character from the iconic show The Office, who would it be and why?
I'd be Jim Helper, because I think I saw him at the Butler Public Library one time, and I was like, oh, starstruck. I should have went up to him to find out if it was actually him, but the dude resembled him completely, and I was like, he's a really cool dude. So,
well, you know what, Kenny? For those of you who watched The Office towards the end of the show, Jim left the job at Dunder Mifflin to pursue his own dreams at one point. Of course, I don't think that ended up working out for him, so I'm glad it worked out for you. But anyways, everyone, this is Kenny Bonus. Also, Jim Hapler from The Office, great character, always the comedic relief of every show. And Kenny is the founder and principal of Bonus Accounting. So, Kenny, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate being here. I've been excited about getting on the podcast with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're thrilled to have you here today, Kenny. So first and foremost, tell us who Kenny Bonus is.
So it's always hard to sum yourself up, but I'd say I'm an energetic person who always is trying to learn, trying to better myself and better the people around me. I made a mission to myself, personal mission, to try to grow business and bring everybody who's around me and bring us further into the future. So I just try to approach life with energy, optimism, and laughter.
And sooner or later, I'm sure you're going to start seeing some billboards around town that Bonus Accounting is the firm of the future. Did you ever get that slogan trademarked there?
We should have. I think QuickBooks has something to do with that slogan, but yeah, it's one of the ones that we like to tout and using technology.
Yeah. Well, speaking of QuickBooks, who doesn't love QuickBooks? But that would indicate that you might be an accountant.
That's it.
So why don't you talk about Bonus Accounting? Give me a bird's eye overview. We'll dive into it a little later, but just tell me a little bit about Bonus Accounting, the brand.
Yeah, Bonus Accounting, I started it back in 2016, just myself at the dining room table. We start with hard work. We focus on values like ethics, hard work, dedication, doing the right thing. We've since grown it to 30 plus people, 4 offices. We're in Butler in 3 locations and up in Erie in 1 location too. But we've also expanded so we have digital presence and can service anyone around the world. That's kind of an exciting thing to say too. So yeah, we just try to do the right thing and the rest follows. It's nice.
You know what? That's always a good plan to follow. Do the right thing, the results follow. All too often, you get caught up in the other jazz around that. But if you keep that at the center of your mission, you can't go wrong.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean it's going to be easy.
Right.
You're still going to have to put in the work. You're still going to have to make the efforts. You're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices. And I am going to come back to some of the practice questions a little later. But one of the questions I'm most curious about is the decision you made in 2016 to leave what was a promising career path for a large international accounting firm, and you left with no clients.
Yep, exactly.
So tell us the motivation there.
Yeah, it stems from just having that entrepreneurial spirit. I was listening to a lot of audiobooks on my way into the office every single day. And it got my mind thinking to go further, reach further. All the while, my brother, Aaron Bonus, who works with me closely, he was at local accounting firms doing really cool things with bookkeeping, taxes, payroll. And that just looks so appealing to be able to help people um, personally and help their businesses thrive. When you're an auditor, nothing against it, but sometimes you're just a cog in a machine, and you're not really helping an individual person. It's more of this larger picture, and the praise and thanks isn't necessarily there. And not that it's about that, but it's something where interacting with individuals, these local businesses, you can really make an impact. And I'd like to think we've helped to make an economic impact in the local economy too. So I think just seeing what my brother was doing and knowing that we can really make a difference here, I saw an opening too, and it
Mhm.
seemed like there was a lot of people retiring, and seemed like the right place, right
Mhm.
time.
I'm sure you didn't just, make the spur of the moment decision. Maybe you did, but probably not, that you were going to do this. So at what point in your life did you really come to the realization that you wanted to be a creator, work for yourself, create other opportunities for others? At what point did that come into play?
I know a lot of it came as I was studying for the CPA exam. I could see what I wanted to do with that license, my CPA license, and I could see you could go unlimited distances in business whenever you become an entrepreneur from a young age, which we might touch on later too. It's like I was a paper boy, and it was just fun to be my own boss. I think I always have been gravitating towards business ownership and have always seen it as in a positive way. And whenever I was studying for that CPA exam, I listened to a lot of audiobooks, read a lot of different books indicating that, and it just made me think differently. So I started to make that shift from employee to kind of business owner mindset,
Mhm.
and then from there, kind of did it.
Yeah, you know what? I think a lot of people really love the idea of taking that risk, making that next step. And a lot of them will do it without having that mindset ready to go because it is a different grind.
Right.
So, what advice would you give somebody who is, wanting to make that next step, may or may not be ready? What would you tell them?
I would say that my biggest thing that I already alluded to also is like get those audiobooks, find topics that you're really interested in, that personal development, those types of things. And it almost as if you were the one that traveled that route. You can learn from those authors and what they're trying to convey without having to go through those hardships. What you can learn in 8 hours from an audiobook took a person a lifetime to achieve. So that continual learning, especially after college, you think, oh, done with learning. No, I think that continual learning is paramount to continued success. And anybody who's wanting to start their own business, doing as much research about it is very important, knowing that industry inside and out, and then learning those soft skills through audiobooks and different things. They can teach you systems, technology. So I think really doubling down on that personal development and that education really can help somebody. And not to mention, I utilize SCORE and SBA.
Mhm.
Those are like the small business development
Yeah.
center as well. I think having a mentor to help guide you through something like that, it does help. But yeah, proper preparation. You don't have to have it all airtight. It's okay to jump off the cliff and build the parachute on the way down. But
Mhm.
I think it's something, yeah, you're always still kind of working on it as you go as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, we're very fortunate here. Our county is under the SCORE Pittsburgh chapter. We do have a great
Yes,
rep in Russ Hearn,
exactly.
who has numerous success stories. And Russ also has the ability to tell who might be in front of them. Either they have a good idea or they don't. And I really do think that Russ has helped a lot of people because he is brutally honest, but also has the experience, knowledge, and is more than qualified to lead the next generation. Russ is great, but I don't think SCORE was around when you started your first business, which was the paper route.
Right.
Talk to me about that, because that is at an early age. I'm assuming you were pretty young.
Yeah.
And you got a taste of what's possible
Yep.
in a free market economy.
Oh yeah. It's fun as a paper boy. When I was 4th grade, so maybe around 10 years old.
So you were like pedaling a bike and everything.
Yeah, riding a wagon down a hill with the papers in it, sitting on top of the papers. Yeah, I think I saw the paper boy walking around the neighborhood, so I started following him around on the route, learning about it, and then he got the idea, hey, this kid might want the paper route from me. So that's kind of like shows you why networking is important.
So even at, what'd you say, 7 years old?
About 9 years old, 9 or 10, I was networking with the paper boy when I was 10 years old to try to get that paper route, which those were pretty coveted when you're a young kid. You could be making $5 a day delivering newspaper, 10 cents a house. But it teaches you different things like getting out there 6 days a week, hard work, making sure that that end product makes its way to the customer, a quality end product. You don't want it rained on or tarnished. And then also collecting from your customers. So you'd go around and knock on the door if they didn't pay you and say, hey, I'm here. I'm 10 years old and I'm collecting $10 from you for the month. So I learned a lot from that too. And it's kind of funny. And yeah, then you can knock on some extra doors and say, hey, would you like to subscribe for the newspaper? So, so there's some marketing there as well. So.
Did you ever have to break anyone's thumb if they didn't pay their paper bill?
I just gave them that puppy dog look and guilted them into paying for it.
Yeah.
So.
What do we call that in accounting? Like, uncollectible. There's a term for it. I remember T accounts. There we go. Allowance. Yeah. So, did you grow up in the city of Butler? Or is that where you grew up?
Yeah, Lindora, and then out to Center Township.
Yeah. Well, talk a little bit about your upbringing. What was life like for Kenny Bonus when he was young? Not that you aren't young, Kenny. You look great. But talk about your childhood, your home life, things that shaped you and impact you, good or bad, that definitely played a part into who you have became today and the business you have built here.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one thing that we're forged in fire, so to speak. And I'm sure my childhood isn't like bad per se, but it definitely was one that, had some challenges. And I think those challenges have helped foster who I am today. Parents were divorced. So then right there, you don't have that double income household family. And you didn't always have money to get different clothes and everything. And kind of like the poor kid at school. Sometimes that it hurt at the time, but as you're growing up, it made you always like have that desire for more, something that it's almost like this unsatisfied need from a young kid, from a young age, to desire to have more and be more, maybe from an inferiority complex. But growing up, I do distinctly remember going to like a soup kitchen with my mom and my brother, and we saw one of my friends' moms serving at the soup kitchen. And as a kid, like that was just like really embarrassing to me. And it's not that people should be embarrassed by it. If they need that, they definitely need it. But as a kid, I guess I didn't know any better, and I was kind of embarrassed to be receiving, and then running into a friend's mom thinking that she was going to go tell everybody. And I wanted to make sure that I never had that type of situation for myself again. And then when I'm older, for my kids. So I think my drive and hardworking attitude comes from some of those tougher times of not having enough. I don't want to spoil my kids by any means nowadays, but I think it kind of instilled in me kind of like that constant drive. It's like, hey, I don't ever want to have that insecurity. And it kind of helps me understand now, like insecurities that some people can be living through, and why charity is so important to me as
Mhm.
well, because I've been on the receiving end. Yeah.
Yeah, poverty is a hell of a motivator.
Yeah.
You can look throughout history. There are several, famous entrepreneurs who certainly came from poverty
Yeah.
and use that as motivation. Um, Obviously, your upbringing, was not an ideal start for you. But can you talk about the importance of having that experience in your life? Obviously, you mentioned it's the experiences you had. You didn't want your children or your children's children.
Right.
Think about it. One of the most difficult things to do is to get a family out of generational poverty.
Yeah.
It's incredibly difficult. And one of the avenues is obviously being in a free market, a capitalist economy does present opportunities for anyone, no matter what
Definitely.
their position or current state is. So can you talk about kind of how poverty was a main driver and why some of those things are so relevant and why you are so driven today?
Yeah, I think coming from a place of not being able to buy clothes unless it was me buying it from my paper route money, or buying a car with my paper route money, um, I think knowing and tying that together and realizing, like, if I was going to get something, that I had to actually work hard for it,
Mhm.
and you earn it 10 cents at a time. That's also been ingrained in me too, is just like, hey, like my appreciation for money is like, hey, I used to get 10 cents per house that I would deliver that newspaper to.
Mhm.
Um, but I also knew too that it was important with education, is because if you're going to defeat that poverty spiral, then you need to become educated and do good in school, as they all say, obviously. But it's not necessarily doing well in school, it's educating yourself. Whether you go to college or not, it's still important to continue your education, because that will allow you to identify opportunities that exist out there. So when you couple hard work with education, you really can make great things happen. And yeah, forged in fire, I'll say it all the time, really keeps you humble, keeps you valuing the meaning of a dollar too. But yeah, I came also from a loving household
Mhm.
too, so the love and support was there, and I
Mhm.
think that is an important thing,
Mhm.
to feel that love and support from my family, my mom, my dad, and my
Yeah.
brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
That's definitely important to go through those struggles together as a family.
right. Yeah.
Um, Now you mentioned the soup kitchen where the friend's mom was serving, the meal that night.
Yeah.
Is there any other defining moment or experience from your childhood that still rings today and is used as a driver for continued success?
I know that one thing to me, I as a kid, I'd be doing homework, just inside the house, and then I'd look out my window, and everybody's skateboarding outside on the road and hanging out playing baseball. And I always look back to that moment. I'm still that kid sitting there, doing homework, reading the books, doing the chapters, watching everybody play outside, and just trying to stay like persistent and know that, hey, like, I know it's a grind right now, but this is for something bigger. And I feel like I had that vision back then. And I think that delayed gratification is something that we as business owners and we as people should embrace more often, because the longer you can delay that gratification, uh, the better the return results can be.
Mhm.
So I think that's another one. I know there's a bunch of different things in in my past that have contributed to my success, but couple stand out like that at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So at the time in your childhood when you're watching the baseball and the soup kitchens and stuff, I'm sure you didn't realize that you were delaying gratitude at that point. At what point in your life did you start to realize that the delayed process of gratitude was being used as a driver for you?
Yeah, I think big time as I was graduating high school, I was starting to get scholarships. So there was a return on investment right
Hmm.
there. Even in college, I really wouldn't partake in anything. But then I was starting to receive like scholarships while in college, really good grades, starting to get these great opportunities. So I was noticing those types of things starting to happen. And that's when it starts to click.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's really tough to see those end results other than like
Yeah.
some grades, some intangible things. But
Hmm.
scholarships really do help out. And I will point out that that validation through scholarships was important to me. And we ended up doing a scholarship at Slippery Rock University
Go Rock.
for accounting
Yeah, I
students.
love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And somebody came to me, and the moment I heard that idea that I could do an endowment up at Slippery Rock
Hmm.
Foundation, I jumped at that because I know as a student that helped me with validating my hard work, and I wanted to at least try to give that opportunity to more students and
Hmm.
more people, especially in the accounting industry.
Absolutely. Um, I'm sure you weren't born saying I'm going to be an accountant or a CPA. At what point in your life did you know though that you had an interest in this? You understood the language of business, which not a lot of people do, including some accountants who just basically got their degree and, now they're just bookkeepers or whatever.
Right.
But you clearly speak the account you speak the language of business, which is accounting.
Yeah.
At what age were you pretty much set on this is me?
I think when I was a sophomore in college, I still remember being in my room. My mom came in and she was going back to school for accounting, and she said you should change your major from business administration to being an accountant. You could become a CPA and you could have your own business. My teacher is a CPA and he's doing great. And when she told me that, it's like as a teen, you're kind of rebellious and you don't always want to listen. But I listened to her. I listened to my mom. I'm
Mhm.
glad I listened to my mom.
Yeah.
And she was right on that. Maybe it was some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mhm.
But I did know through her encouragement, as I've alluded to also, um, I think that's whenever I knew it was important to go into accounting. Getting involved with math and science, she always promoted that too because she said not everybody gets into that. It's challenging. Not everybody wants to do it.
Mhm.
So there's going to be an opportunity to have a good job down the road. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Listening to your mom, that's always a good plan
it
too.
is. Yeah,
There's nothing quite like a mother's love.
yeah,
And obviously she wants to see well for her children.
right.
I did not know that she went back to school for accounting though.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
And I'm going to assume that was likely a defining moment for you in college when your mom came in and kind of said she was going back to school. Her teacher was an accountant.
Yeah.
She believed in you. Was there any other defining moment between that conversation with your mom to bringing bonus accounting to market?
I think another thing in relation to like becoming, yeah, like creating bonus accounting, getting my CPA
Mhm.
license was a huge one.
So did you do that immediately after school or?
It was about a year or two
Okay.
after school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that always the plan? The CPA
It
path?
was,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I got an internship at KPMG, Big
Mhm.
Four. I had the choice between Giant Eagle as a retail operations intern to go on and become a store manager, which those pay really well, or which would have had a higher starting rate, or going Big Four and knowing that delayed gratification, that's lower initial pay for a longer term success career. I think that also right there was a defining moment.
Mhm.
Then parlay a couple years into it, getting my CPA license. I failed 4 times. I wear it proudly to help encourage others who are studying for the CPA. Like, hey, it's not easy. You're gonna fail. You might fail. You might pass it right away. But
Mhm.
I failed 4 times, and just you only fail whenever you give up
Yeah.
and stop
Absolutely.
going for it. So I've learned that, and it's one of the biggest learning lessons. But I powered through it. I passed all 4 parts
Yeah.
and obtained the CPA license. And I knew from there, like, I could do a lot with that license, and I know that helped project me into the future with starting the accounting
Yeah.
firm.
Now you mentioned you had to make a decision between Big Four accounting firm internship and a Giant Eagle internship. Both presented unique opportunities either way you went. Outside of the paper route, did you have other jobs, as a bagger or something at a grocery store, or was that just completely by chance?
Yeah, I did have the job in the at Giant Eagle as a bagger. Yeah. And yeah, it was coincidental that I ended up getting an internship with Giant Eagle later on down the route, but yeah, as I'd say from 16 till 18, I was at Giant Eagle as a bagger. I'd push carts. They actually had me do all the art for Steelers games. So I'd do it on these big sheets of paper that they
Oh,
use
that's
in the
cool.
meat department.
Yeah.
And I'd draw huge Steelers banners when they were going to the Super Bowl.
Mm.
They would even have me run payroll at Giant Eagle too
Wow.
when I was like 17 years old.
Wow. So you got exposed early.
Yeah, I didn't even realize what
Yeah.
I was doing at the time.
Yeah. Jeez. So let me ask you this, Kenny. Let's turn back the hands of time here.
Yep.
And let's assume that instead of taking the internship at the Big Four firm, you actually did take the internship at Giant Eagle. Does bonus accounting still happen, or does that mean that you start the corporate ladder and work your way up to, the Pittsburgh region's largest privately held company?
Right. Yeah, and then to clarify, it's like the a job offer from either KPMG or from Giant Eagle, so it would have been a full-time position.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I think going the Giant Eagle route, it would have taught me specific industry-related items, and something in me tells me that I still would have went the entrepreneurial route, but maybe you would have seen something more grocery-oriented.
Oh, wow.
Or supply chain oriented. I always say that every experience we have teaches us different things. So I'm sure along the way I would have seen market opportunity and potentially created my own business from there. But yeah, I never really wanted to do too much corporate ladder and kind of do something for myself. So I can imagine having started something either way, but whether it was in the accounting field or not, I'm not 100% certain, but yeah.
You still were destined to be a creator, an entrepreneur,
Right.
someone who worked for themselves, answered to no one in a sense. Accountants and non-accountants alike, everyone's heard about the CPA exam. Its reputation would suggest that it is one of the hardest professional certifications to obtain.
Right.
And I'm sure there's some long-term continuing ed maintenance requirements to, have your license still.
Correct.
And when you do choose accounting, when you get to this fork in your road between deciding to take the exam, let alone pass it, or go elsewhere, it usually does make or break careers.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you failed the CPA exam, four times, right? So I'm guessing that's like there's 4 parts to it.
4 parts.
So you failed like each part once or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So can you talk about what you learned about yourself, Kenny Bonus, by going through that, preparing, studying for probably a significant amount of time, being faced with failure, and then to overcome that? Can you talk about what you learned about yourself in that period of your life?
Yeah, I think the biggest part is I was pretty aggressive with what I was trying to do with passing the CPA, and I was actually studying for 2 parts at a time. I know I was respecting the material, but when you study for 2 parts at a time rather than 1 part at a time, it kind of sets you up for failure. So I did pass 1, failed 1, and then did that cycle again, failed 2 different parts. So there was 3 of them there, and I just knew I needed to buckle down and harness my focus. I think I learned a lot about myself at that time too, to not spread myself too thin. It's always something that's on my mind, not to spread myself too thin, but that has always acted as a constant reminder. And it's easy to say yes to everything too. And I think that was kind of a little fallacy I was dealing with at the time, but knowing that, hey, if you want to be successful in life, if you want to level up to where you're supposed to be in your career, like I had to hunker down. I told all my friends, like, hey, I won't be going to the bars with you guys. I won't be hanging out as much. It's not that I don't like you guys, but I really have to prioritize my studying. I even stopped going to the gym as much, but it's one of those things where that delayed gratification, it completely like encapsulates that whole idea. And I think I'd gone my whole life with scenarios like this, and I knew like this was a time to just buckle down and just do what you don't want to necessarily do,
Yeah.
because it's going to make you better in the long run.
Yeah. That's like the season of discipline,
Yeah.
doing stuff even though you don't want to, but you
Right.
do know that you have to.
Yeah.
I'm always faced with that. I usually come out on the right side. Were you employed at KPMG while you were trying to pass the CPA exam?
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm sure you had to report to someone each of those 4 failures. What was that like? And, did they write you off? Did they support you through it? What was that having to, expose, an embarrassing moment in your professional career, or just
Right.
a roadblock in your professional career to a direct report or department head, whatever the case may have been?
Yeah. Uh, 3 of those fails happened in the summer coming into it. So I didn't have to wear that one as much on my sleeve, which thankfully. So once we started, I failed one more of the more difficult parts and did indicate to more senior people. And they were like, yeah, if you're going to want to continue here and level up to senior associate, you kind of have to have that CPA exam. And I realized that yes, we had to buckle down and take some time and really work on that. And then I had 3 successful passes like in a row. So I was like, all right, something was done. I changed it up, studied for one part at a time, and really went from there.
Yeah. So how long were you employed at KPMG?
5.5 years.
5.5 years.
Yeah.
So obviously entrepreneurship, taking that risk, going out for yourself is a different grind than corporate America, but make no mistake about it, corporate America is a grind too.
Oh yeah.
What did you learn working for a global firm for 5.5 years that definitely impacted what you've been able to build today?
Yeah, I think working for Big Four, so many great learning opportunities. I enjoyed my time and the people that were there with me. And it's designed a certain way to allow for individuals to come through and certain turnover to happen so that there won't be a crowd of high level managers at the top and not as many people coming in. So, yeah, I learned a lot about them. Yeah, you'd work extra hours. You'd work 80 hours a week on salary with no incremental pay.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the bigger ones. I said,
Is that a driver?
yeah, if I ever had a firm, I would make sure I'm paying people for time worked.
Yeah.
Not just trying to burn them out. And yeah, you figure every extra hour you would work while you're on salary, you'd be diluting your pay.
Yeah.
And pulling that hourly rate down by working more. And I think we all did it because we were driven people and we were learning a lot. There was a lot of intangible learning that occurred for sure, but I wanted to make sure that my people were paid for the time that they worked. I also did learn though, we always celebrated great at Big Four. So wrap up parties, we'd rent a school bus and go around.
I love that.
Different bars, and they'd take us to games and different things. And that taught me too, like, hey, let's celebrate after busy season. We have a wrap up party every year. We have season tickets to the Penguins in the Casamigos Lounge that we have for our colleagues. And we just went to Erie Seawolves under the Moon Mammoths
great
logo up in Erie and had a nice box suite time. But I think celebrating accomplishments is really important. and then just trying to make sure that people don't burn out. I think I like to overstaff. Some people might be a little bit more bored in the summertime,
Mhm.
but that's by design, so we can work on trainings that people don't feel like they're constantly burning at both ends. So
Mhm.
I'm really big on
Yeah.
not letting us burn out.
Yeah. And that's huge. I think pretty much everyone ignores burnout, myself included.
Right.
And the longer you ignore it, the worse it gets. Eventually, you're going to have to face the consequences of extreme burnout. It makes
Yeah.
a difference.
Yeah.
So to see, you're invested in to make sure that not only you compensate your employees for the time and efforts they put in, but you also take time to make sure that you express your gratitude for all of their hard work. That seems like a very solid business practice,
Definitely.
and something that you may have picked up from your time at a crazy global accounting firm.
Yeah.
Um, so here's my question: if you remember this, the day you had to inform whoever you had to inform at KPMG that you were leaving. You may have not have said, I'm starting my own business, but after you informed them you were leaving, do you remember the feeling?
Yeah, it was pretty euphoric.
Uh-huh.
I just knew it was euphoric because I knew that the world was ahead of me. I know that I was throttling myself back because I couldn't go get clients. I couldn't go for different nonprofit organizations without getting certain
Mhm.
clearances. And that's understandable while you're there. But I knew that I was holding myself back, and
Yeah.
I just could not wait to get out there into the community. We were already working on some volunteer
Mhm.
projects on Main Street in Butler, and I just knew my potential and my capabilities. I had plenty of money saved up, so I wasn't worried right there. But I knew that, like, hey, there's some great things ahead. And yeah, there's a little bit of fear, but I told myself, like, hey, my Aldi's bill per week was only $20. So if I go at this
Those
rate,
days are gone.
yeah, they're definitely gone. Yeah, I should be able to last like 3 years without making any money.
Mhm.
So maybe not that long, but I did know, like, hey, I've built myself enough of a budgetary
Mhm.
buffer. And yeah, it felt euphoric. And I still remember walking into to work that day, like, hey, this is the last time I'm gonna be doing this. And I remember walking out just feeling on top of the world,
Yeah.
and rightfully so, even though there was some fear mixed in with it.
So honesty hour question here.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any regrets about leaving that career path?
No.
Yeah.
And it's not because it was not enjoyable, but I very much like knew my path. I knew that I did not have any regrets with leaving and starting my own business. And for that matter, like, I try to live my life where I won't have those regrets. Um you mentioned that, and it just reminds me to mention, like, I also don't want to have regrets when it comes to focusing on work too much and not spending enough time with my family.
Mhm.
So family is really important to me. When the boys say, "Daddy, will you read to us?" I'm dropping that tax return that I'm working on, and I'm going to read to
Yeah, that's
them
great.
because I don't want to have that regret.
Oh,
And they're only young for this so long, and I'm reminded constantly by my clients. But I think yeah, regret's a horrible thing, and you definitely do not want to have to live with that. Yeah.
yeah, regret's a hard thing to live with,
Yeah.
and that's awesome to hear that once you made the decision, you committed that decision and no regrets from that point forward,
Exactly.
which says a lot about who you are as a person too, Kenny.
Thanks.
Um, you mentioned just a bit ago that you were already had some volunteer things going. You were involved with the Butler Downtown group. It seems like you knew that was what you wanted to do to start an accounting firm, and that you began the process prior to that. What were some of the things you were involved with in the community prior to you actually launching Bonus Accounting?
Yeah, I was involved with the art center. I was helping them to, as a volunteer, to do some bookkeeping there. I was learning bookkeeping as well while doing that. I was also working with VITA through CCR,
Yeah.
which is the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance
Actually,
Program.
that's where my internship was in college.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's a
I
great
see it as a
program.
nice badge when somebody has that on their resume.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot of taxes
Mhm.
through that experience. Also, networking. We were knocking on doors on Main Street to do a Main Street mapping project for Butler
Yeah.
downtown. So we mapped out every single business, and I think a lot of serendipitous things happen whenever you go knocking on 100 plus
Oh
business
yeah.
doors
Uh,
and you're not soliciting them. You're
yeah.
doing it as a true volunteer project
Right.
to help better the community. So,
Yeah. It's almost like you were driven and you knew you had a vision for what you wanted your end goal to be, or maybe not even end goal, but you knew where you wanted to go.
right.
Right. And everyone knew you as, well, Kenny helps out at the art center. Kenny's on the mapping project. Kenny's involved with this. And do you think that that made a difference? Because when I look at this on paper, you know, the risk that that was
Hmm.
to leave such an awesome company where the opportunities are almost limitless, but not totally limitless. They're
Right.
limitless now for you
Right.
working for yourself,
Yep.
with zero clients.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so, and this is a really heavy open-ended question, a question I should say is, what are some of tell me what you did, to
Yeah.
go from, literally nothing,
Yeah.
but you're involved in a couple things around the community
Yep.
and you gave up what would have been a promising career as an auditor.
Yeah.
Like, walk me through a day, a week, or like that grind had to be ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. I should look at my calendar from back then, and there was just nonstop meetings with people to network, to get out into the community. I still remember being part of Christian Business Partners and hearing chatter that a nonprofit needed some help with their books. And that was my first nibble at a client.
Yeah.
And I think it was a minor amount, maybe $95 a month. But yeah, that came together and I was like, this could work. Like, I just got a client for $95 a month right
Mhm.
here. I think I can do this. And from there, I had another organization get a hold of me and I did a nice project for them with taxes. And I was like, wow, I think something's happening here. And then soon enough, yeah, word of mouth would start. I
Mhm.
started to have more and more people come to us for taxes, for bookkeeping,
Yeah.
payroll, and sitting at the dining room table was where I started it and have a lot of fond memories there doing my own everything myself.
Mhm.
And my brother was there teaching me and guiding me along the way
Yeah.
while he was at other places. And he'd pinch hit for me in a few instances. And um, yeah, there was just so much networking and like soft skill oriented things. The work was there, it just wasn't hours and hours of work.
Mhm.
Um, but I think, yeah, that exposure to just like hundreds of people per week to help open the doors, to get the name out there, knowing that you're planting seeds, delayed gratification
Yeah.
again, not going for the hard sale, but going for the relationship building. And I think always approaching it from hey, when people are ready to buy, they're ready to buy. I'm not going to force anything on them.
Yeah.
And just, hey, let's make this community a better
Yeah.
place and the good things will follow from
Yeah.
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, leaving global accounting firm,
Yeah.
zero clients. Fast forward to today. At peak, you're 30 plus employees, your 4 offices. Something tells me you're not done yet either.
Right.
If you could give us a broad overview or even a broad statement of what it takes and how you executed that, what would it be?
I think identifying opportunities has always been part of it. I could see there were retiring accountants. I know that uh, treating employees with great respect. I call them my coworkers because we're peers, we're colleagues. They're not my employees.
Mhm.
We're all on the same team. Um, those types of things, identifying those opportunities and continuing to identify those opportunities. Opportunities present themselves all the time too, and no has to be said as well.
Mhm.
So again, with the not overextending, doing things very surgically and
Yeah.
precision oriented, knowing the numbers, budgeting, that all plays into it, along with knowing the numbers with growing the team.
Mhm.
I think when you can identify those opportunities and then pair it with having that great team, to just reduce turnover so that you have that same team coming back year after year to help the client. When you have those two pieces in combination, that helps to lead to a sustained growth.
Yeah.
Is it We don't want a necessarily unlimited growth, like Icarus flying too close to the sun and having his wings burned. You want to do things in the right way. And I think as those opportunities continue to present themselves and our team finds themselves ready to take on an office, like a colleague of mine, I think those are the types of things that we're looking for to grow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, you referenced when you first started out and how big networking was. Networking is a buzzword. Everyone uses it. Everyone claims that they're networking a lot.
Yeah.
Some people are good at it. Some people aren't. Some people are in the middle. Whatever the case might be. So, my question is when you look back, how important was the networking component to your success today?
I think it was definitely top priority as I had given it. And in looking back on it, it was extremely important. All the relationships that were made, because you make a relationship and you foster that for the rest of your life.
Hmm.
You not only have a great friend, you have a great business partner. So many relationships I built at that time. And I just look so fondly on everybody that was in my life then and that's there now. Um, yeah, everything can happen so serendipitously.
Hmm.
Somebody gives you a referral that leads to two more referrals from that person.
That's right.
So it's crazy how that genealogy of clients actually happens along the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm a Chamber of Commerce president, right? So I'm,
Right.
I'm
You
going
know
to
it better than
oversell
anybody.
the value of networking, but it
Right.
really is a powerful tool.
Yeah.
And the smaller or tight knit the community is, the more vitally important it is to build those relationships, have a brand that is very reputable.
Yeah.
And that clearly played a role in your success. But you didn't get to where you are today with just a bunch of wins, right?
Right.
And I'm sure there were a variety of failures.
Yeah.
Can you talk about one in particular that almost ended the bonus accounting brand, or something that could have escalated to that you had to overcome to move forward?
I haven't had anything to that degree, but I do know that taking too much work on my own shoulders and not realizing that I can bring a team along, that would have throttled us back so much that I would just be a sole practitioner.
Mhm.
Too many accountants want to do it, they want to do it themselves to make sure it's done perfectly. If I would have succumbed to that and not had that team mentality or that team approach, yeah, I'd still be that guy at my coffee table sitting at my house.
Mhm.
But knowing that, hey, I don't want to be in the trenches alone. And I think there's a lot of people that would find this fun and I'd be able to give some great opportunities to people with me. I think that's the key part is knowing that, hey, let's build a team. I saw
Mhm.
too many accountants burn out, do it themselves, and just be relegated to their house, practicing out of their house and make nothing of it other than being swamped during busy season. But I figured, hey, let's build a great team. Let's have fun with each other. And we always joke that, hey, we're in the trenches together in busy season, but nothing brings people together more than going through some tough times together.
Yeah.
And you come out of that and you know everybody has your back. And that is the best feeling.
Mhm.
It's so cool. So, yeah, the make or break is the decision to grow and to know that bringing on people to be around you is the most important thing.
Absolutely. Um, we talked about your upbringing and some of your community services that you utilized in your youth, and some of the things that you were involved with and still involved with today. Um, Oftentimes, community involvement is a great opportunity to network and build relationships. Can you talk about the importance of your involvement, not just back then, but now today, where you not only give your time and expertise, but now you're in the position where you can sponsor galas
Oh
and
yeah.
golf outings? Can you talk about A, how vital that was to build your business, and B, why you continue to be so adamant about community involvement for both yourself, your coworkers, and just the bonus brand in general.
Yeah. And as I've alluded to already, I've been the recipient of donations growing up, soup kitchen, things like that, scholarships, but got involved with the Butler AM Rotary. Jordan's on that with me too.
Yeah, I'm in that because of you, Kenny.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, I'm in this chair because of you. So thanks.
Yeah, anytime. Yeah, but being around like-minded people too. When you're a business owner, you feel like you're on an island, as you've heard in the past. But being around those like-minded people, it wasn't necessarily to transact business with the people in those community organizations, but it was to be around other motivated people
Yeah.
to raise yourself up to that level. They always say, choose your friends, choose those people that you want to be like and emulate. And Rotary is one of those found families.
Yeah.
I always apologize that I don't make it out to those 7 a.m. meetings, but I like to read to my kids in the morning.
Yeah,
and
I get it.
You got to choose. And I'm like, kids, sorry guys. But we still interact with everybody at the Rotary. I bring them out to the picnics, and we do a lot of the nonprofits like Carved in Ice. But I really do think it was being around those individuals that saw the community, saw the great things happening, and then you meet these other connectors that, you might not be doing business directly with them, but then they help introduce and open doors.
That's right.
So that's why it's like kind of a long game, so to speak.
Mhm.
But you really do it for those good reasons, like the new playground. You do it for the Carved in Ice Festival,
Mhm.
bringing a great event to Butler.
Yeah.
Being a part of the United Way, just meeting all the individuals and all the different businesses through that. The Arts Center, as I've mentioned. The list goes on. I'm like I mentioned on the foundation board for Slipper Rock too.
Mhm.
And it's one of those things where, hey, these are alumni supporting a great university in Butler County,
That's right.
Slipper Rock University, and just seeing the success of those individuals, it's inspiring to yourself.
Mhm.
If for nothing else, it's just nice to be around other people that see the world the way you do. So I think that's a big piece right there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You mentioned, surrounding yourself with people who are kind of on the same energy wavelength as you. And of course, we've all heard the term like energy vampires and bad juju and all that stuff.
Right.
And you also referenced podcasts and books to get you in the right mindset. I have to believe that these are still things that you do to this day. Can you talk about what it is you implement kind of in that mental game space, motivational space, mindset space?
Yeah.
And why you continue to do those still to this day?
Yeah, the constant positivity is a big thing where just stay positive. You get a choice when you wake up. Like, is this going to be a good day or a bad day?
Mhm.
You have to choose that this is going to be a good day. Even though all things are pointing to bad day,
Mhm.
you choose and select good day. Because guess what? You woke up in America and you got food on the table and you had a warm bed last night.
Mhm.
I am also real big on vision boards. There's been so many times throughout this journey of bonus accounting that I've thrown the gross revenues number at the top of the vision board at the beginning of a year, and we hit that. Sometimes to within $1,000.
Wow.
And then we're like, let's add a zero on at the end of that number
That's
type of thing.
speaking it into existence, huh?
It's chilling. And
Yeah.
multiple times it would happen. I'd run to my wife and tell her, I'd be like, look what's happened.
Yeah.
Every time we have one of our babies, I always put beautiful, healthy baby on there.
Aw.
Beautiful, healthy baby number 2. So those things too, like, you speak it into existence. When I wanted to network with somebody, I put their name on my board. That might be a little creepy, but but it's funny that person would show up at an event that I was
Yeah,
at. And
wow.
I was like, wow, like some of these just serendipitous things, and it always kept you, the vision board it keeps you guided, keeps those missions, those tasks at hand, and it helps you see like beyond the forest right there. It gets you to see like miles down the road.
Yeah.
And those are the things that really resonated. We talk about audiobooks, and I know I recommended this one to you too. It's
Oh, I love it.
Outwitting the
Yeah,
Devil.
it might be the best piece of advice I
Right.
got as a young professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Napoleon
Mm.
Hill wrote this book, and it was published after his passing, and only recently. It just teaches us that we get into these hypnotic rhythms,
Mhm.
and they could be a negative one or a positive one, and we have to take some time to like look up, like wake up from the dream, so to speak, and choose that path intentionally and go from there. There's some really awesome points, and I should regularly read it at least annually. It's one of those books that changes your life. Um, I know Rich Dad Poor Dad
Yeah.
is another one. That's a great book by Robert
Yeah.
Kiyosaki. Teaches you that incremental money that you might earn as an employee, that extra 10 cents, um, it doesn't matter that much. It's more about building that asset that can help generate revenue. So these key financial concepts I thought were pretty
Mhm.
cool in that. But you're reminded when you listen to audiobooks, and it's almost like, oh yeah, I almost forgot some of these
Yeah.
concepts. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, they always say like your thoughts become your reality,
right.
or your thoughts become your vision, which becomes your reality.
Yeah,
You're like living proof of that.
yeah.
Um, would you say that an entrepreneur who's either thinking about starting or trying to build, if they don't have that piece of their life, in going in the right direction, mindset, vision, how big of a disadvantage is that, and what suggestions can you make to help people get into that successful entrepreneur, free market baller?
Yeah. I an analogy jumped to my mind, and it's like, okay, you throw on one of those weighted
Mm.
vests if you're one that doesn't know about going for positivity. Uh yeah, would you jump into a pool with a weighted vest and then try to swim a mile in the pool? Or if you choose a positive attitude, it's like grabbing a little buoy and then swimming from there.
Mm.
It gives you that advantage, that buoyancy to be able to overcome whatever obstacle comes your way, and just makes things that much easier. So my advice to people would be, yeah, just wake up with that positive attitude. That's going to be your advantage, because anything else would be a disadvantage and sabotage.
Mhm.
Truly, yeah,
You talked about how important the family aspect of your life was growing up, something that you've referenced has continued as you build your own family.
yeah,
3 beautiful children,
yeah,
a supportive and loving wife.
yeah.
How important is your family to you and to what you're trying to do today?
I think it's why we do what we do.
Hmm.
It really is. Even just last week, Tom Graham said it best too. It's like, I'm doing this for my family,
Yeah.
and seeing him say that like resonates so much. You see your kids and that role model you are to your kids. You see that partner, my wife Rosalie. You see that her as that support system, and it goes both ways. She just trained me for Barber Beast on the
Oh,
beach,
yeah, that's right.
a 10-mile
Yeah.
obstacle course. She trained me, and we both act as this way of making each other better. And then our kids, uh, we're their mentor, but we also learn a lot from them too, in those little moments. And it really is why we do what we do. And it's funny because both my kids, they know that, or my 2 boys that speak, and then I have a daughter, Eliza. She's 10 months old, but the boys are always talking about wanting to do taxes. It's I'm not going to
Hey,
force it on
it
them.
sounds like a succession plan's already in place, Kenny.
I would never force it on them, but yeah, just to be able to give them opportunity
Mhm.
is really important. And you don't ever think that you know it all, because I've actually stopped and asked Oliver. He's my oldest, 5 years old. I said, Oliver, what would you do in this situation? What
Mhm.
should I have done? And he will actually answer very profoundly and
Oh,
sagely. And I've made some great decisions based on some recommendations from my 5-year-old.
That's great.
And I'm proud of that too,
Yeah.
because sometimes you just got to get back to the basics with it and be willing to listen.
Yeah, yeah, and involving your children in this realm of your life at that early age, that is going to be so beneficial to them.
Oh yeah.
And they have obviously excellent role models
Thanks. Yeah.
in the two of you.
Yeah.
So you are just short of your 10-year anniversary of bonus accounting.
It's true.
So let's fast forward and say the year is 2036. Let's also assume the robots haven't completely taken over the world.
Right.
It's 2036. What does bonus accounting look like?
I'd say we definitely look more regional than we are now. We're technically a regional firm, being up in Erie too. But I could see us expanding even to other states at times in a sustained growth.
Yeah.
Really taking advantage of technology and using it as a lever, and then really sticking with that human interaction. I know I always see AI generated images, and I'm sick of seeing AI generated images and 6 fingers now.
Yeah.
So I think that human element will always be there, but we're also going to be ones to try to take advantage of that tool and bring it where it needs to be, being those financial advocates for people, those educators, teaching people that way. But our growth I see as being a large digital presence as well.
Yeah,
And
you have great social media pages.
Thank you.
They're so creative.
Yep. Shout out to Harley on that too, our marketing associate.
Great content you're pumping out.
Yeah. And we have fun doing it. It helps set the culture.
That's right.
Continuing that fun culture is another thing where, we want to be proud of where we work. We want to be able to, brag about where we work and what we do, wear the logo proudly, knowing that we work for a company with integrity and ethics. So even if it didn't grow and go to multi-states and grow tremendously online, I think the fact that we'll always maintain the culture we have and the hard work and servicing our clients, I think those are the key pieces. But it would be great to expand into like an AI solution for accounting and taxes to be able to, hey, we can offer this type of service now. So those things I'm always looking forward to. It would be great to expand in those types of services or products. And then, if any of my colleagues ever wanted to move away, I'd say, let's find a retiring accountant in that state. And now we have a office in Florida now. So.
Well, Kenny, not that I'm an accountant or anything, but if you open an office in Florida, will you fly me down for a ribbon cutting?
Business write-off. So
write-off. It's a write-off. So, and maybe you don't have an end game here, but do you envision bonus accounting, obviously, being a larger regional firm, but do you have a vision to make this a national firm, a global firm? Obviously, in the age of AI, these things are more possible than ever, and it doesn't necessarily require you to have a huge building in every major city across the world.
Exactly.
So do you see that as a potential?
Yeah, the national firm is something that is a possibility. Leveraging AI and the tools that are out there now, let alone the tools that will be developed, which we may be the ones to help develop. A lot of times the people who are closest to the issues are the ones to develop the best product. So I'd be extremely excited if we could grow to that level, and then be able to provide those types of like resources to small businesses and large businesses alike.
Well, just don't forget me in Butler County.
I won't. I'll never forget you.
Thank you, Kenny. I'll never forget you either. Trust me. You've been a very big mentor for me. And a good friend too.
Likewise.
So I can't thank you enough for that, and always taking my calls too, even if it's ridiculous. So
never too ridiculous.
There you go. So. Okay. Here is a final question for you, and take as much time as you need to think about it, or maybe you just know it already. What's the single most important piece of advice you would give to an aspiring entrepreneur right now?
I would say it's definitely seeing that vision of what you want happening, just completely like take that time and meditate on it, seeing where you want to be, what you want this to become, and just meditating on that sole idea. Because when you set out to go on a road trip or something, you're setting out with a destination in mind. You don't need to know every turn, every which way. You just need to know where you're going. And I think that holds true in business, that if you want to get somewhere, you have to have that goal, that endpoint, that destination in mind. And it can change along the way. But if you envision something grand, you can get to something grand. You can make it to that.
Mhm.
And when you hold that vision and that idea in your mind, nothing will stop you from getting it. And you only fail if you would quit heading for that goal.
Mhm.
So pick that goal, go for it, and then you'll find that new goals and new visions continue to pop up. And hey, that sounds like a great place to go after you get to that original goal.
Mhm.
So I think that's probably one of my biggest things, is just have that in mind. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Ballad of Butler County. Again, big thank you to Kenny Bonus of Bonus Accounting. Thanks for spending the time with us today,
My
Kenny. And
pleasure.
obviously, we wish you nothing but the best of success for your future and the future of your firm and family.
Appreciate it, Jordan. Thanks for having me. And I'm so thankful to be part of the chamber. And I'm glad that we live in such an awesome county and doing great things for the people in Butler. Thank you.